Hi everyone, very good morning. How are you all? So before starting, wanted to ask one question to all of you. When was the last time you had seen some stars in the night sky? Okay. Anyone? Yesterday maybe? A week ago? Okay. Now let me refine my question a little bit. So when was the last time you had seen, let's say, maybe 10 or 20 stars in the night sky? You? Okay. And so let me go, a little deeper into my question now. So when was the last time you had seen, let's say, 50 or 100 stars? Does anyone remember watching 50, 100 stars lately? No? Okay. Now, one last question. So, do you remember or has anyone from this room ever seen the galaxy which we live in? So, which galaxy do we live in? I hope everyone knows we live in the Milky Way, right? But has anyone ever seen the Milky Way with his naked eyes? Okay, great. Any location, ma'am, you would like to reveal? Uttarakhand, great. So, yeah, so if I tell you right now, also I'm coming from Uttarakhand. I was in Rishikesh for quite a lot of time. And there are places still that, in the world, places in India also where you can still see some stars, right? So let's start. So if people looked at the stars each night, they would live a lot differently. Any idea why? So if I tell you the scale of this cosmos, so let me give you a very short example. So we feel that, this city Bangalore is quite big. Then we feel India is quite big. Then we feel, our planet Earth is too big. But if I tell you the stars that we are showing to the people in the night sky, there are stars that are, imagine, 1,000 times bigger than the sun itself. And any idea how big the sun is? So for approximately, if I tell you the sun, it's around 1.3 million times bigger than the earth. And that's just an average star, imagine. And then you see a lot of stars in the night sky if the night sky is clear. So there are stars like, Arcturus, Betelgeuse, a lot of stars, and they are, imagine, 1,000 times bigger than the sun. And if I tell you a very fascinating thing about this universe, so there are more stars in the universe than we have the grain of sand on the earth. Imagine. Can you imagine, if so I was in Goa for some time. So if you just, put a little sand like this, I don't think you'll be able to, count those particles of sand, right? So imagine we are just not able to count this much handful of sand, we are not able to count. And then there are stars, more than that sand, entire sand in the universe. Okay. So any idea where did the stars go? So I think most of you might be from Bangalore, Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, maybe all the metropolitan cities. So any idea, people, where did the stars go? Okay, so they are not gone anywhere. They are just hidden. Hidden inside what or beneath what? Hidden beneath an invisible problem that we all can't see anymore. And I think, the talk that I'm going to give right now, I don't think more than 95% of the people in this room are aware that this is also a type of a pollution. So the name of this topic is light pollution, right? So, when we were children, even I also, so I was from a CBSE school, I was passed out. So when I was, I guess in second or third standard, I was there. So we were being taught about water pollution. If you people all remember, right? Land pollution was there. Air pollution was also there. And noise pollution, I think, was also there. But I don't remember, and I don't think anyone of you also remember this thing, that there was one more pollution, that was the light pollution. So I came to know about light pollution when I came into this field of astronomy. So it had been 8 to 10 years I'm into this field of astronomy, and what got me into this field of astronomy? So my journey is quite different. I actually tried each and every type of job that I could. So I got into sales, I got into marketing, tried each and every kind of job that I got, and I ended up not in a corporate office. So now I believe that this night sky, that's actually my office. So every evening, we set up the telescope and in different places of India, Goa, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, and we teach and educate the people about night sky, astronomy, light pollution and all these things. Okay. So coming back to this area of focus. So if you see this, that's a map of India in 2014, and that's a map of India in 2024. 2 years more have passed. So, if you see, you can see a lot more lights over there also. So yeah, so coming back again to the topic, what is light pollution? So the thing is, So let's take the example of Bangalore. So if you see, so I came from a flight yesterday. If you see Bangalore or any other metropolitan cities from, from little above, you'll see lot of, like small dots like lights. Those are basically lights, right? Now those lights, what they are doing, so the lights of the malls, the street lights, the halogens and all these lights, what they are doing is actually, so we are calling it progress, we are calling it development, but in actual what's happening is the glare of the lights is actually going in the night sky, and because of that we people are not able to see the stars, right? Now some people, some of you might be thinking that, is that even a concern that, you're not able to see the stars? But slowly, and as we move, I'll tell you that, how it's actually shaping the world, or shaping, or disrupting the ecosystem actually. So the nature is losing its rhythm. Okay, so if you see, there are some birds, then you have some insects, bats, you have some turtles also. So any idea what impact it might be creating on this insects or birds? Anyone? Yes, please.
Most of them, like some of them in the sea, use light as a source to
Great.
start with their lives. For
Great.
example, the sea turtles, they use the light to move towards the sea.
Great. So not only sea turtles, we'll just start this thing from insects. So insects like moths, a lot of small insects. If you have seen there, whenever there is this rainy season or any other season also, you see a lot of insects. They're actually scattering around this halogens. If you people have seen. So why is it natural? No, it's not at all natural. It's like we don't know about it. So the insects, the sea turtles, even the migratory birds and all these, they actually have the certain rhythm that they, and even us also, we as humans, we are also, we were meant to live in the natural daylight and night light. But since, we have transformed so much, all because of evolution, we cannot go back actually. But if I tell you what happens with the moth is, so the moth, it will keep on circling around that artificial light, thinking that it is the moon. Okay. Secondly, coming on to the migratory birds. So I think you people might be knowing about migration. There's a certain season wherein the birds, travel to different continents. Now, what happens with the birds is they actually get confused. Confused why? Because when they're flying over the cities, they get to see a lot of lights, and they actually lose their original pathway where they have to go. So the insects are suffering, the birds are suffering, and as that guy over there told me about the sea turtles. So sea turtles, there's a certain season in which they actually lay their eggs and, hatch the eggs and migrate to a certain path. And what they have to do is they have to follow the moonlight, right? But since there is a lot of light pollution, they're not able to, identify because they don't have consciousness like us. So if I tell you that this is not the sun and this is a light, we know, obviously we have consciousness. So they are actually, lost in this. And because of that, the migratory birds, what happens with them is they utilize a lot more energy. They go into their exhaustion mode. And because of that, they are then, they keep on circling around the cities. Okay. Now talking about us humans. Now I want to ask you people, any idea how the light pollution is affecting humans? Sleep cycle, anyone? Okay. So I'll tell you, so there's a certain circadian rhythm. I don't know if you people know about this thing or not. So there's a certain rhythm of the body, and if I give you an example, so still if you see people in villages, like the remote villages in India, people in villages, they are far more, I would say, happy and healthy. If you compare them to people in any metropolitan cities. Reason why? Because they are still living that, the backward life. And why they are living the backward life? Because it's like 6:30, 7:30, they usually take the food and then, go to sleep. So, they are doing this unknowingly, but they are actually following the circadian rhythm of the body. Now, if I tell you about the people in metropolitan cities, what we are doing is we are doing the opposite of that. We are doing night shifts, right? Eating on, unregular meals and all these things we are doing. So if I tell you there's a certain hormone, we call it as melatonin. So that's the sleep hormone, right? And it gets produced in the body naturally. So what happens is, as soon as the sun gets down, the body starts to produce melatonin, because the body thinks that now it's time to sleep, right? But what we are doing is we are in so much of bright lights at 10, 11, 12 in the night. We are in so much of bright lights that melatonin, it's not secreted properly in the body. And because of that, we are unable to sleep. And so, since we are unable to sleep, the stress hormone goes up. right? So we all are actually, messing up our biological clock also. But since, we call it a progress, but it's not progress. We are actually messing up with the ecosystem also, the birds and everything, and we are disturbing our own circadian rhythm also. Okay, now, so want to tell you about a beautiful organization, and the name of the organization is IDA, International Dark Sky Association. So what this association is doing, so in India there are two places, one is Hanle, that's in Leh Ladakh and Spiti Valley, and second place it's in Pench National Park, it's in Madhya Pradesh. So this organization IDA, that's International Dark Sky Association, what this organization does is, this organization, it's actually setting up dark sky reserves over multiple places. Now, what are dark sky reserves? So suppose if you come to Uttarakhand, you can still see, quite a lot of stars. If you go to some remote part of Rajasthan, like, near the Jaisalmer area, if you go, you can still see stars. So what this organization does is, it sets up a dark sky reserve, and, it limits construction to a place, and then, it limits the amount of light over there in that place. So still, if the kids, of our generation, they can actually also see stars, right? So, as if you remember, we just saw the map of India. 2014, the lights was less. 2024, there was so much of lights, right? And this is the reason we are not able to see the stars, right? So IDA does is what? IDA set up different, zones and different parks. And over there, if you go 100 years also from now, you go, no matter how much developed the world is, but you'll still see the stars. You'll still see galaxies, nebulae and clusters with your naked eyes. You can still see the Milky Way with your naked eyes. So this is the thing that IDA, this dark sky reserve, is doing. Now, this is a solution to the problem, the light pollution. So if I start from the first and the second, it's totally written that it's all not at all acceptable. So it's poorly shielded. So if you see from the first and the second, the glare of the light, it's actually going upwards, right? Now, this is a common problem, but what we need is, so suppose I'm walking in a society, I'm walking on a road. So do I need the light to see the ground, or do I need the light to go up in the sky? Obviously, I need to, see down on the ground. So this is not at all acceptable. The second one also. Third one, it's bad. Why? Because it's saying bad. Because if you see, the glare is not that much upward, but still it's, it's covering this horizon part. The fourth one and the fifth one is the best, I would say, because it's actually motion sensor. So let's assume that you people live in, condominiums and societies. Now, in the night time when no one is up there and the lights are still on. So what you can do is, you can put motion sensor lights, wherein if you are, going for a walk, if, someone is moving, the light will, automatically click up. And this one is better. Why? Because it's actually shielded. So the light, the fourth one I'm talking about, the light, it's actually shielded. So it's not going up, okay, and it's going down. Now in this picture, there is one more thing if you notice. So if you see the first, second, third part, if you see on the top of the screen, you see there are no stars visible, and that's the reason. So let's assume that you are in the first or the second part as of now, if you are in Bangalore. If you are on third, you can say maybe you are in parts of Himachal or Uttarakhand. And if you are on the fifth one, so you can assume that you are in either in Pench National Park, like a very dark sky area, or maybe you might be landing in Leh or Ladakh. So that's the thing. Now, one more thing I want to tell you about this, the bottle scale. So there's a certain level. So I think everyone here knows that, we measure the earthquake on a Richter scale, right? We measure the magnitude, 3.5, 4.5, like that. So there's a certain scale of light pollution also. And there was this person, John Bottle, so who discovered this scale. So we call it the bottle scale. So according to the bottle scale starts from 1, ends on 8. So 8 is the mostly polluted, where you cannot see even a single star. So that's the cities, Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, Bangalore, and all these cities. And then 7, 6 slowly. And if you come on bottle 1, you can actually see the Milky Way with the naked eyes. You can see nebulae, galaxies, star clusters, and all these things. You don't even need a telescope. So I would request you all, whenever you get time, try to visit, parts of Rajasthan like Jaisalmer, try to see the night sky from there. If Leh, Ladakh, you can go possibly. It's it's a heaven for a stargazer, I would say. Okay, so this was about the bottle scale. Yeah. So I told you that these are all the techniques, and these are shielded lightning. Yeah. Two more things that are left is, you can actually lower the brightness also. So let's say in the night time, much lights are not being used, we can actually lower the brightness. One more thing we can do is, we can use warmer tones. So the blue lights, white lights, they are actually more harmful compared to the warmer tones. Right? Okay, so it's already happening, as I told you. So IDA, the organization, it has set up 200 such places on the earth today. And the places there are across the continent, so you can actually go. But Ladakh, it's the best place in across Southeast Asia that you can go and see this Milky Way galaxy. So this is an image, and this is, I would say it's a camera exposure, but most of you, if you're having normal phones, iPhones or Androids also, and if you take a 10-second or 20-second exposure, so what you do is you increase the, the photo timings in your phone. That's an exposure thing that you get in your phone. So if you just take a normal photograph going in Leh and Ladakh, you can actually see this band of Milky Way. Okay, so bring back the night. So how we can bring back the night? As I told you, point the light downwards. You can use warmer tones, turn off the lights when you don't need. And the best thing, the best part about this is you can actually start with yourself. So, on daily basis, as I told you, we conduct stargazing session for a lot of people, right? And why the people, they are interested in so much in, into this, seeing the stars, because most of the guests that we get in Rishikesh or let's say Goa or maybe parts of Rajasthan, they're actually coming either from Delhi, Bombay, or all these big places, Karnataka, Bangalore and all. And the children also, they are only studying all these things in the book. So they don't even remember when was the last time, they had seen stars. So when they come to our location and see the stars, they are so mesmerized, and so I have named my company a Stardust Observatory, and there's a specific reason why. So, any one of you, if you're wearing some silver or gold, and if you're not wearing also, then also, if I tell you our body, it's, there are bones, right? So bones are made up of calcium. In our blood, you have iron content, right? Magnesium is all, all there. So all these elements, that are there inside our body, imagine they are actually formed in a core of a star. So when the star dies, it explodes, it takes billions of years, and then all those elements, they are distributed onto different planets, and our bodies are actually made from that element. And all the gold and silver things that you're wearing right now, they were actually imagined in a core of a star, and then that star blasted, got distributed into different planets, and then we are wearing that thing. So imagine we are also stardust, like we are part of this cosmos. So when people, come from different cities and, come together and see the stars, so, they actually relive their child memories. And so they get very fascinated that, still we can see stars from this place. And then, with the help of the telescope, when they see the nebulae, we can also see distant galaxies. So we live in the Milky Way galaxy. The telescope that we are having, it's not that high, and it's quite a good one. But if you see, you can actually see the Andromeda galaxy. So imagine 2.3 million light years away. So that light started 2.3 million light years ago. That also we can see. So, all these things, when people see, they actually feel a sense of connection, right? Because, as I told you, we are also all made up of stardust. So this was all for today. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any doubts, you can please ask.